Former 2016 GOP presidential candidate Carly Fiorina is already back in the game, and she's endorsing her one-time opponent. And Carly Fiorina goes on the record, so I'll let you tell us who you're endorsing. But it was yesterday. We know who it is, but tell us.
Well, you know, I endorsed Ted Cruz. I was very proud and pleased to do so. And I came to that conclusion, actually, before I'd ever sat down and had a meeting with him about that endorsement. I came to that conclusion when I stood in the voting booth during the Virginia primary, saw my own name on the ballot, which was kind of a thrill, but thought long and hard about why I'd run for president. And I ran because I thought we needed someone to challenge the system and a real constitutional conservative. And Ted Cruz will challenge the system. He has challenged the system. And we know, for example, the kind of Supreme Court justices he'll nominate, and that matters a lot right now.
Carly, I'm going to do to you what I did to Governor Chris Christie when he dropped out of the race and endorsed Donald Trump. Here's what you told me in January about Senator Ted Cruz.
My issue is that I think both Donald Trump and Ted Cruz are far too divisive as candidates to ever beat Hillary Clinton. And I also don't think you can win when you have someone like Senator Cruz who says one thing in the drawing rooms of Manhattan and another thing in the living rooms of Iowa. That's kind of what politicians do. They say what they need to say to get elected, and then they do whatever they please.
Carly, what happened between January and now? Because he was divisive in January and saying two different things in Manhattan and Iowa, and now you're standing behind him.
Yeah, well, look, Greta, I mean, I understand this game. In January, lots of things were different. Lots of things were different. Here we are.
It's not a game.
And
wait a second,
our choices, wait a second. No, Greta, our choices have narrowed dramatically. Ted Cruz is the only guy who can beat Donald Trump. We need to beat Donald Trump because I'll tell you what, Donald Trump is not a conservative. Donald Trump will not challenge the system. He is the system. He's benefited from the system. And I'll tell you who most definitely cannot beat Hillary Clinton. It's Donald Trump, because he and Hillary Clinton are two sides of the same coin. They're two peas in a pod. So I'm endorsing Ted Cruz because we do have to unify the party now. And I hope that my endorsement will serve as a signal to others that it is a time for choosing. It is a time for choosing, and Ted Cruz is my choice.
Are you saying he's less bad than Donald Trump in your mind?
Oh, I think they're totally different people. Ted Cruz is actually a constitutional conservative. How do I know that? Because he's argued in front of the Supreme Court 9 times to protect our rights and liberties as enshrined in the Constitution. Donald Trump, for example, thinks nothing about saying, I'm going to change the libel laws so that we can hold the press accountable. Wow, that's not exactly First Amendment. Ted Cruz has challenged the system, and he has the enemies to prove it. And as someone who's challenged the status quo all my life, I know when you do that, you make enemies. Donald Trump has never challenged the system. He's used the system. He's used the system to benefit himself. And here's what I also know. The more contests that go on, the more clear it becomes that Donald Trump's support among those who haven't yet made up their mind is falling, not rising. And Ted Cruz's support, on the other hand, is rising. In other words, he is beginning to unify the party.
Carly, always nice to see you, and good luck with your candidate, and have fun tonight at the debate.
Thanks so much, Greta.